And it's sort of, there's loads of stuff in this show that's interesting. Because there's some things you do in part. You talk about going to underground transvestite sex parties, but you don't go into a lot of detail about why that happened. And I would like to know.
Interesting.
I would like to know the details
of
how that happened to you, if it did happen. In reality.
Yes, it did. Well, first of all, to I guess try and brush over the more complicated answer to this question. It's interesting though as to raising a subject on stage.
Yeah.
And then how much you delve into it. How much, because obviously the more stand-up I do, because I haven't actually done that much stand-up, but the more I do want to get under, because always previously, it's a lot of rug pulls. There's a lot of take you one direction, then another, and that's how almost all the Lee stuff was.
Yeah.
Okay, it was filtered through him as a character and how he would see the world, but ultimately it was all go one way, bang, then the other.
Yeah.
Simple joke writing. And so the other way of where you're really digging down is I've found that harder.
Yeah.
Partly because the second you rug pull, the whole thing's gone. Like a rug pull it's like a da-da, nothing has been actually, as I've said it. So you can't then carry on.
No.
You'd have to say joking and then get, right. So that was something that I'm trying to get better at.
Yeah.
So the transvestite sex party.
Because I think a lot of comedians, that could have been the whole that would be, here's my transvestite sex party show.
Yeah, well, that's got to get you, that's 3 stars before you've even started in Edinburgh. So the transvestite sex party, this is, okay, so I'll put it in the context of the show to make me sound less sordid than I probably am. The ADHD thing, which is something I talk about, which I'm sure most comedians on this couch have opened up about. And I guess, forget all the ADHD stuff, because even I'm getting bored by that now. But the ADHD stuff boils down to dopamine. You need dopamine.
Yeah.
And what's dopamine? Dopamine is a pleasure center, because people with the ADHD brain have got a broken pleasure center. So to just feel normal, we need to do extra things, right? And the dopamine rush is all about putting yourself in situations that are exciting, stimulating, be that drugs, be that sex, be that, risk-taking. I thought I was this wonderful avant-garde, subversive prankster, pointing fingers at the mighty, at the powerful, and laughing, actually. I just wanted a dopamine rush.
Sure. That's really interesting.
It's about that hit. And so, when you want the dopamine rush, you keep on, let's go. What's next? Right. Let's keep, and I don't know, it was some big night out, and we were getting, we were having a good time, and everyone's like, let's keep going. And, once you've seen a woman with a vagina and a bloke with a penis, where's the next thing you want to go for a dopamine rush? A woman with a penis, or it's so that's the natural progression.
I'm not sure it's natural progression, but it's not happened to me yet. So
not happened to you.
But now you've mentioned it,
we're taking different substances.
But I think I think that's very interesting, and that's where I wonder. It's hard to know, isn't it? Because you're not inside anyone else's brain, so you don't know. It feels to me like that risk-taking and that dopamine thing is something that everyone sort of wants, and some people are scared to get to. But then, I get the risk thing, and the job is a risk, and like often within this, when I'm really flying in RHLSTP, I will say the thing I know I'm not meant to say to see what happens.
Are you part of the ADHD crew?
I'm not, as far as I know, but then I sort of think I must be, because everyone is, but also because I'm quite obsessive about doing things for a very long time. But then I don't know. I just love comedy. So I think there's a chance that I'm just a comedy fan who's managed to make a career out of comedy, and I love comedy, and I understand how comedy works. But equally, every now and then again, someone with ADHD will say, oh, this, and that's not that I've ever gone to.
That's part of the diagnosis, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you been to a transvestite
so I'm fine then.
underground sex party?
I've never been I'm too embarrassed to go
Have you been to a sex party?
I've never been to any kind of sex party.
Have you been to any? You need to go to a transvestite party, a sex party, see how you feel on both them, see if you're ready for the combo.
I think I'd feel embarrassed. So like I never went to strip clubs because I had too much empathy with the person doing the job to think I just find this embarrassing.
The job.
I just find it embarrassing. I think embarrassing as to be. I think if I went to an orgy, I would find it embarrassing rather than sexy.
Yes,
I can watch it on a video and enjoy it. But
well,
I think
if I was
there,
to the same one. Let's just go there.
I don't want to see you going at it. I don't want to see you wanked off by a transvestite or anyone.
Welcome to the RHLSTP in a new setting. Simon may sound breathless. He's actually having the time of his life. Simon, how's it going? Well, the joke, the sort of, I guess, the rug pulley part of that joke in the show. Let me try and remember it. I'm talking about my diagnosis, which was very, very recent compared to many other people. I guess that's just because no one was looking out for it back in the day.
No, they weren't.
And I'm talking about this need for dopamine and a broken pleasure center and going to an underground transvestite sex party and nothing says broken pleasure center like being tugged off by a man called Annabelle. And you know what? A better stand-up would be to dig down into that and not
but
just
a different stand-up, but I think maybe maybe further down the line. I think I think it's what you're doing is is solid stand-up that's popular that is also not
solid.
Well, it's solid.
Richard Herring.
It's not. It's there's some substance to it and there's some interesting subjects in it and it's quite edgy in places. So it's not like Michael McIntyre, but then again it's not like Stuart Lee. So those are the two extremes of comedy. And I love Michael McIntyre. I can cope with Stuart Lee.
His transvestite sex party stuff is the most mainstream I've heard.
But I think a lot of maybe a comedian. If I'd been to a transvestite sex party, I think I would definitely talk more about it than you do. I would. But then I also respect not to.
It's interesting. It's really interesting. I mean, this is quite nerdy stand-up area.
Yeah.
But both of us are interested in nerdy stand-up.
We
area.
are definitely on some. So are some of the people.
We've had 2 emails encouraging us. There was more to that routine.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I talked about my experience and talked about this party I went to and how grotty it was. It wasn't this transvestite sex party, but I talked about a sex party. And I don't know, part of it is you got to be really wanting to say things on stage. And partly, because you've really, if you're going into any area that needs a bit more than what people are used to listening to, you got to confidently take them there.
Yeah.
And I think partly because I was never quite really wanting to take them on that journey.
Yeah.
It always felt a bit mucky, a bit like, does anyone really? This is so much in the stand-up and in how one feels on stage.
Yeah.
And but at the time, it felt a bit like I don't really want to take them there, and they don't really want to go there. The audience, this is, and so it was. It never quite felt good enough to make the cut. And I'm pretty brutal with what goes in.
Sure.
If it's just interesting to listen to, I'm like, it's got to be funny. It's got to be really funny.
Yeah. No, I don't think it would have fitted into this show as it sounds. So I think you made the right decision because the show is, you're going across a lot of different subjects, and it's not. It would be a different show. It would be an Edinburgh show where you might win awards.
If you really, who wants awards when you can give away your stuff for free on YouTube? That's what we've always said.
Baby reindeer sort of territory where you could then go, I'll do a drama about my struggles with sex clubs and.
Well, it's the Edinburgh thing of the interesting versus the funny versus because Edinburgh it's own little bubble, isn't it? Yeah. Of what is really fated and bigged up there. It's not. It's sometimes not necessarily the funniest show.
No. I know, and I don't think the audience you're getting there to see your show wouldn't want
Very few of them looking out.
They wouldn't want to
Very
go.
few.
And it's not what they want from you. And maybe it will be at some point, and maybe, I think, but also it is really interesting because it would be, if I had that in my arsenal, I would do stuff about it. But it would work in my stuff.
Yeah.
And but I've talked about my worst moments or my most humiliating moments,
Yeah.
and that's sort of what I do.
Right.
Whereas the character of Simon Brodkin is quite, it's a higher status, I would say, than
interesting.
Richard Herring. So like I think for you to go deeper into that would have been unsettling in a way that I think would have left that audience who definitely left having had a great night. I think it would have left some of them going, oh, okay.
I had no idea he was going to talk about that.
But I still think it's interesting it's interesting that you broach it. And I think that in itself is enough to go, okay, well, that's an interesting little element of it. And why did he not go further? And why did he do what he did? But also it does open the window. It opens the door a little bit to say, there's this side of me that...
I fully agree. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I think probably the experience and the amount of stage time and writing that I've done as me means at the moment, or then anyway, when I wrote that, didn't quite have the tools
definitely
to unlock the sex party locker.
Hold on to it. Go to a few more sex parties.
Yes.
I don't want to destroy your marriage.
Thank you.
Go to as many sex parties as you can.
Richard told me to.
And then
Richard said,
it's
honey,
tax deductible if it's for a show as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, have you got a receipt? No, that's cool. I don't know what I'm going to do.